We are amazing because our passion is limitless and our drive is intense. Therefore, you will not deny our grind. You are now listening to the Faith, Grind, and Inspire podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Gene. Welcome back to another great episode of Faith, Grind, Inspire podcast. And today we have a very special guest, my brother, one of my good friends from when I first started and got into the industry. And we just remained friends. And it was interesting because you meet people and, you know, there's like industry friends and you got friends, you know, and people that you could actually build with and talk to. And there's not that many people that you could put in that other box, you know?
No doubt.
And so, and really build with and connect with, you know?
That's real.
And you're one of them.
Appreciate
right?
that,
And
man.
you're like one of the main
and vice
ones.
versa.
You know?
Vice versa.
And so, thank you, man.
Yes.
And so today I got my man,
Yeah,
Datwon
man.
Thomas, man. What's
Clap
going
it up
on,
for
bro?
Datwon, y'all. Clap it up.
Yeah, so, look.
Oh,
Brianna,
man.
where's the prepare? What happened? She's like, I'm working. All right.
I'm working.
So we had a campaign, right? And so we talked about it,
Yep.
you know. We talked about coming on the show, but you're super busy.
Yo, it's crazy.
Like,
bro.
I love where your career went,
Thank you,
right?
fam.
And I love
Appreciate
the fact, and there's a lot of things that, you know this, but I'm going to tell you, right? So there's a lot of reasons I think that you're where you are, right? And there's no
Appreciate it.
accident.
I appreciate that.
One, you're consistent. Two, you really love what you do.
I do,
And
man.
three, you study the craft.
All the
you
time.
Study.
You see how your man just hit me with, yo, you heard Joel Ortiz joint? I'm like, yeah, Monday, right? You're like, yo, you got to be ready because people will try to test you.
They do test
That's
you.
like being a rapper, and they be like, you ready? You be like, what? Ready for what? I want to battle. You got to have rhymes ready. So, like, with what I do, I got to be ready.
Yeah.
You know, and if somebody hits me with something I don't know, I'll be like, word, oh, they caught me.
Yeah.
Wait, I got to get back up.
Yeah.
I stay up hours after I'm finished working.
Wow.
Just looking at stuff. Just looking, consuming, because I want to be on point. I want to be able to have dialogue within my space where I can, you know, have a decent conversation with someone. If they bring up like their little cousin that's rhyming, and I'm like, yo, all right, man, you know he ain't out like that, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But for the most part, if they're recording music and they have a name and they're out there a little bit, I at least either heard of them or I'm in the process of learning more about them.
Wow,
You know?
man. Yeah, I saw it. I witnessed it. I remember years ago at the Vibe, there was like a video, and I remember that was the first time. Oh man, what's his name? This was the new artist, not the new artist. Yeah, he was a new artist. Kendrick
Lamar.
Kendrick
Yep.
Lamar was first coming out,
Yep.
and he walked in when we were talking.
Yep.
And I remember people there were like, "Who's that?" Right?
Yo, it's crazy, man.
And it was so crazy where he, look at him.
Bro,
You know?
I met Kendrick like in person, I think like 2011. I think that might have been the first time. It was his first time in New York.
Yeah.
He was about to do like his first show. And at the time I remember talking to him, he was like, yo, I think he was like 23 or 22. And he was like, yo, I haven't been out the country yet and all that stuff. Like we were just talking about like where he wanted to go.
Yeah.
And this is just before Section 80 was about to drop. And I had already been a fan of his since the Kendrick Lamar LP. It was really the EP, but he made it longer. And I remember interviewing him then, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to save this interview. And I saved it for 5 years because I wanted that interview to be fresh when I knew he was going to have all these accolades. And it was, I ended up publishing it as the digital cover in 2016 during the Grammys when he had like 7 nominations. And I think he lost all 7, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And it was wild, though, because we got to be able to see someone at their height. And that's when he did that. I think it's probably the top 3 greatest performances on the Grammys with Imagine Dragons.
Yep.
And I just remember seeing that and being like, dang, this was the same dude that trooped all the way up to Harlem to talk to me at Just Blaze Studio and had these dreams of being this big artist. And all the odds are stacked against him, and he knocked them all down. And look at him now.
Man,
It's beautiful to see that.
I just love seeing those stories, man.
Of course,
it's just,
man.
It's just, and you being in. So, I'm sorry, we're talking because we know each other.
We got to do the.
Now we got to
do the do.
Yeah,
I got you.
So tell people, where you from. Tell them who Datwon is.
Oh wow, man, Datwon, it's a cool cat, man.
You are a cool cat.
Yeah, cool cat, man. I can't even front. I appreciate it. I'm Datwon
and humble.
Thomas.
Humble, man.
Yeah,
for the this guy. I still have my vibe. My vibe. It's 15.
Oh wow,
the
T-shirt. Oh,
the T-shirt.
The X,
yeah, the X.
and the V.
Yeah. I still got that, man.
Yo, that's dope, man.
Yep.
Like when I think about like how do I encapsulate my career or who I am and all that stuff, cool dude, family man, just a lover of music, especially hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Love writing, love reading. I wish I get to do some of that a little bit more so. But then I just try to be, more of a visionary as far as like, helping other people reach their goals within this space if I can. And to also try to reach the ideas and the creativity mirages that I see. I want to try to take that mirage and make it reality. So that's one of the things that I'm constantly working towards. When you think about having a family within the industry and you think about some of the other people that are doing what you do and they might not have a family, you're like, yo, it's like that double, triple time, and sometimes you're like, oh man, they running, they getting it out. But then I always check myself and say, my race isn't against them. My race is against my ideas, and then what, you can't stop them or slow them up or make them like, come on, I want more comp. You can't do that to them. You could do that to yourself. And, sometimes I beat myself. Sometimes I beat myself up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that internal competitive nature on, you did great things in the past. Can you continue to do that as you get older? That's the competitive spirit that I'm going through. You know what I mean? And that's who I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of that, just trying to make sure that I'm equipping my family, my daughters, my brothers and my sisters with the right kind of tools mentally. Because, a lot of times you say like, yo, I just want to make all the money so it make things easier for them. But they can have all the money and then mess it up because they don't have the mentality and the skill set to maintain it and keep it going. So I had to switch a little bit of that. Of course, you want the money. I think one of the things we always say growing up is like, oh, man, especially as like young black men and you come from the hood, dag, man, they ain't leave nothing for us. What they left for us is you. You got here. They maintain for you to get here. So now it's up to you to build that. You're the prime example of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You built upon what you were given.
Yep.
Rather than here you go.
Yeah, here you go. Yeah.
You didn't build on that.
No.
You built on what you worked. And that's a mentality shift.
Yeah, and that's really what the show's really about. It's like Faith Grind Inspires, like the mentality, because you could tell everybody, I could tell you how to, hey, buy real estate,
Right.
like do this. But if you don't have the mentality of how to manage property, how to manage the rental income, like some people will take the rental income and, people in their family might think, hey, you making money. Can I borrow some? So you take the rent income, and instead of paying your mortgage, you go and help your family member, right? And you're done because now you're in foreclosure. And then when you go to your family and say, hey, can you help me? Can I need that money back? I don't have it.
That's one of the biggest. It's funny that you bring that up because that's one of the biggest issues that I think like first, second generation successful, black professionals go through.
Yep.
Because if you're the successful one in the family's looking to you to be also the financial guide, and you're the source, you're the bank.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a lot.
That's
man.
a lot.
That's
and you
lot.
don't understand the reason why the bank has rules and guidelines of who they lend money to
and how much they get
back with it. And
what's the time frame?
You don't know that because you're like, nah, this is Auntie Paula. Like, so I can't do that to my cousin.
Exactly.
Like, he was there giving me the clothes, like, when I didn't have any, and this person fed me, and you start thinking about, and then sometimes they
They attach
those things to you. So they remind you.
Oh, no question.
Know? So
and they feel entitled.
And they feel entitled, yeah.
You know, they feel entitled.
And you feel bad saying no.
Yeah.
But you said something interesting, and I want to ask, now I'm interviewing you, right?
Yes.
So, and it's interesting, man. My first interview at the Vibe was you.
Oh wow,
yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, bro. So this is cool. It's reverse. That's why I'm so excited to do it.
Yep.
But and I remember you told me you're a talkative, positive person,
yep.
and you're gonna have a show one day. And I was like, crazy. Nah, bro. Like
automatic. I probably That's why it seems so natural for you to do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's natural.
Yeah.
This is what you're supposed to be doing as well, among all the other things.
Yeah.
This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Thank you, man. And it's funny because 3 people or a couple people, you and a couple other people said it on like camera. It was like, I see it. And I used to say, no.
Right.
I'm not this.
I'm the business guy.
Yeah, I'm the business guy. I'm not a radio person. And I don't never want to take anything away from journalists.
Of course.
Or people who actually went to school for this.
But you know what's wild, man? That term, even though I went to school for it and all that term is loose now. You know, it's not as tight as it used to be, in a good and bad way.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if what people are doing now, like even with podcasting and all that stuff, if it's defined under that, you know what I mean? I think it's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's informative. And we have those kind of exchanges in everyday conversation.
Yeah.
It's just that we're recording them and putting them out for everybody else to hear.
Exactly.
But this is a conversation we would have if we were just sitting over at Starbucks.
That's
you know what I mean? So, you know, like the labels and everything that's going on stuff right now, I think it's to define and make sure people stay in their lanes. You know, it's no real lanes right now.
Yeah. So you said something like you put out Kendrick's interview 5-6 years later, right?
Yep.
And so I want to ask you, do you remember how you were in your stage of at that stage of your career when you were like first starting out, like what was
early days?
Yeah, early days. Like I want to know, like how did you start?
Wow, man. The start was wild. I was just to speak about the beginning, of like my career and everything. I was a sophomore over at Baruch College. I saw an ad on Vibe.com about an internship for one of their sub websites. It wasn't even for Vibe. It was like for e-zine. That's what they were called at the time. And it was like an underground hip hop one called The Suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And what's so crazy is like the guy that ended up picking me. It's a whole nother podcast about how I got picked. But the guy that ended up picking me, his name is Greg Bishop, and he's currently the small commission. Small business commissioner.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so he was. He's doing big things. He should be the mayor, but we're gonna talk about that later.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he was the IT dude over there at Vibe, and how he got in was crazy. So,
because he's supposed to come on the show.
Oh, wait, he'll tell that story.
Wow, that's so funny, man.
Yeah, man, you see how life
that just threw me off.
Yeah, he's a small business commissioner, man, with De Blasio.
With De Blasio,
that's my man. Like, if not for him, I probably wouldn't even be in this like how I am.
Wow.
He looked out tremendously. And then while I was there as an intern, he ended up moving over to the street with that dude, the dude Mad Money.
Yes.
Jim Cramer or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, he went over there with him. And then I ended up just staying at Vibe until XXL was starting. I cold called them the same way I cold called Vibe. I cold called Reginald Dennis. They had just left The Source, and they started XXL magazine at Harris Publications. And this is 97 now. And they liked my style. I was to let you know how I was the young, hungry backpack kid. I looked like Buckshot from Black Moon with my backpack all the time, just running around. I always had mad tapes in my backpack.
Yeah.
Or CDs if I had my CD player. Sometimes I still have my my tape player, listening to like mixtapes and stuff like that. But that's what my book bag was really filled with, because I wanted to switch out. And I was just thinking the other day, real side, I was like, Dag, I can just go to any song I want right now. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
you had to plan your day about what you wanted to listen to throughout the day. If you left the crib with your Walkman and stuff, it's like, which tapes I'm going to take with me? It was crazy.
The kids nowadays have it easy.
They have it so easy. So I got in through there. I did 2 years over at XXL. A lot of innovative stuff that we did. We were going up against Vibe and against The Source at the time. We were the street alternative to like the street mainstream that the Source had, and Vibe just had the culture. It had everything.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are with the grimy shit, and I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, went on from there, did like a little tech stay with Diddy and in that crew. They had something called Hook.com,
Mm-hmm.
which was like an e-commerce site. You could buy gear like Mecca, Nietzsche, all that. And we also covered hip hop. And then from there, I went back to Harris Publications to start King. And my career just like super, it was like skyrocketing.
Yeah, I remember that.
With that. And I had, from King, I had like 5 or 6 other magazines that I did. Rides, Donk Box, Bubble, Hip Hop Soul with Elliot Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Did a bunch of stuff, man. Did that for like 8 years. Bounced with Russell Simmons over to Global Grind. Did that for like a year and change. Came back to Vibe. Did Vibe for like 3 years. Left Vibe.
You went to LA, right?
I went out to Silicon Valley.
Yes.
I was with Lorraine Jobs and Carlos Watson. They had founded a media company called Ozzy.com, and they do the Ozzy Fest every year in Central Park. And I was like their first urban entertainment editor. So I was doing like a lot of music stories, you know, hip hop and R&B and the films that are connected. That was a lot of fun because I got to learn about the tech space and all that stuff. And then it came back to Vibe, 2015.
2015, right?
Yeah. I did Respect magazine in between that time, but I got back at Vibe in 2015.
And you started your own. Hat company.
Yeah, 22. So after the whole situation with Vibe, because I got let go in like October 2013, and you know, like when something like that happens to you, you kind of like take stock of. That's when you take stock. That's when you slow down, and you're like, oh, okay, what the hell am I going to do? I gotta get on the grind, and Faith Grind Inspire, and I. My cousin's fiance, he does clothes, he does hats and all that stuff. And he was like, yo, Day, I got a hat for you. I was like, word? He was like, I'm telling you, it was a BK hat, a leather joint, snakeskin bill.
Yeah.
And we just started making a bunch of them. And then one time, Carmelo Anthony, really good friend, he wore it when he was in free agency and he officially signed back with the Knicks. He wore the red NY hat that we have with the red Kanye's from the Nike Kanye's, all reds. I'll never forget the outfit. It was like a blue denim and some khakis. Man, his head with our hat was on every cover, every newspaper, everything.
What?
New York Times, Washington Post, Daily News.
That's like press you couldn't pay for.
Couldn't even pay for it. It was all on CNN. It was ESPN.
Yeah.
And you saw like our logo. It was so dope. And I remember I had a meeting that day about the hat brand. And I'm going to the meeting and I was able to get the newspaper.
Wow.
It was a meeting at the Soho House. I was able to get the newspaper and be like, yeah, so this is our brand.
Right here.
Right here. And it was like, I was like, yeah, boy. Yes, this is getting locked in quick.
Yeah.
So then we just started blowing up. We took a hiatus this summer to realign the brand. We were doing a lot of stuff in China, and, you know, how everything is going right now out there. But my partner, Gary, what he's been able to do as far as like expand from our 22 brand into other brands like Famous Nobodies.
Oh, that's him?
That's him as well.
Okay.
Him, Mello, and the team. When you think about his Heart brand, the Heart Clo that's been around since forever, Kimber Walker, my man Fresh, all of them. And then now he has a new brand called Summer of '84 because that's when he was born.
That's when he was born.
And it's so dope. So, you know, the misfortune of losing something as stable as my everyday job, which opened up my career to be able to go into all these different facets, but then to start a business as an entrepreneur opened up even more avenues for people that I'm doing business with.
Exactly.
And you realize, like, when you bet on yourself, you're really betting on yourself. It's not just a term. You know what I mean? Like, you're really like, oh, okay, is this cool or is this something that I'm going to pursue for real?
Yeah.
You know, and when you pursue it, other avenues open up.
What do you think the difference is? What do you think you learned from because is that the first time you became an entrepreneur?
Nah, that was like maybe my third business. I had started another one called Rec Room before that. That was mainly like T-shirts and hoodies. Okay. And that did pretty well as well. Yeah. It's just that I got busy. You know, once I got back to Vibe, I was like, I was working.
Yeah, working.
I wasn't. It wasn't that. That was when it was a hobby, even though it was an entrepreneurial thing. Yeah. I started in 2007. You know, by 2010, I was just like back in the groove of working. You know, doing edits and all of that stuff. But then Gary was like, "Yo, we could do this," and it really worked out well, man.
Yeah. No. Look, I've seen this whole transition, right? And I'm proud, man.
Yo,
you know
I appreciate that. Like, but that's coming from a guy that opened up spots. You had a frozen yogurt spot, bro.
Yeah, in Brooklyn, when everybody told me it wasn't gonna work.
Yo, we was there all the time. We used to bring the girls.
Yep. Yeah. We're going to reopen next year, God willing. We just had situation with, you know, when the neighborhood starts gentrifying. What happens is, first, they go after the renters, right? So they increase rents.
And move them out.
Then the next group of people are the homeowners. And then the business owners, right?
Got you.
Now, the business owners, the way they get you out is they raise the rent. But if you own the building, they can't raise the rent on you. So how are they going to get you out? Violations. And I call Landmark the Marines of when they try to get you out, right? And ready. Most people can't fight with Landmark or violations, right? So fortunately for me and my wife, we're able to fight, and we're strong, and we know that it's a long-term play. So we're in here for the long term. So you're not getting rid of us.
We here.
And we're here. So we fought them. It took us 2 years. Wow. And we won. We finished. But we have one more hurdle. Of course. And we just had to re-up and recoup and refocus. And now we're going to go after buildings department and finish with them and go through that hurdle. And go into construction and open up, because everybody in the neighborhood is asking me, where's Brooklyn Swirl? Where's Brooklyn Swirl? Like, we miss it. Even last night, somebody came up to me and was like, what happened to Brooklyn Swirl? And I was like, it's coming. I'm trying to work. You know, so we didn't close for good. We're coming back because it's important to have a business in the community, so people that look like you, the little kids, are coming up they're not only seeing other nationalities own businesses where they live. It's important to see black-owned and brown-owned, and brown people owning businesses in the community where they live and serve and grow up, you know?
Well, that's how it was when I was growing up. You know, I was in Prospect Heights. It was Lincoln and Washington Avenue, and there was an older gentleman. You know, we had the Chinese restaurant right there. We had the pizza shop, which was Italian. We had the liquor store, which was Irish. We had the bodegas, which were Middle Eastern, you know, and then
all the
delis for real. And then you had Mr. J, older black man, you know, older black dude. But what he did was he sold everything that you need. It was a convenience store, but it was literally like a closet, you know, but he had all the hot comic books, and he only kept them because a couple of the kids, like myself and a couple of others, wanted them. He had no reason to be selling them in that area. We were his only clients for that. The newspapers, of course, all the adults. But Mr. J used to keep all these little pea shooters and little games and stuff. He used to keep all of those for us. And it was important. It was like, yo, we just go down to Mr. J's. And you go down to Mr. J's, is a black man that looks like your uncle or could be your grandfather. And we don't have enough of those in the hood anymore, you know. And then what hood am I talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
What hood is there? You know, so it was important for us to be able to see someone like that in that position that could open and close his own spot. That was key for me as a youngster, because I'm 44 now and I still remember him, and I remember what he did. You know,
it's true.
If you didn't have enough money, go ahead, man. Just
it's like, I know your
sweep
family,
sweep up,
sweep up, do something.
Do
it's
something.
fine. And that's important. Like, I grew up in Long Island, Deer Park, and there was nobody.
Wow.
You know, all the kids I went to school with, their parents owned businesses in the neighborhood.
Right.
There was when you were telling that story about Mr. J, I was thinking about there was no Mr. J for me.
Wow.
None.
Wow.
None. Now I think about it, none.
That's
Not
crazy.
even the barbershop.
Wow. And I mean, like that in the barbershops around our way was a given.
Yeah.
You know
bro,
what I'm saying?
Not even
Shorty,
the barbershop. The barbershop had black barbers,
right.
but matter of fact, yeah, black barbers, but they weren't owned by black people.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Man. I mean,
Crazy.
when I go
it probably
back that
changed
far,
now,
yeah.
but like I remember, and sometimes I couldn't even find a black barber, so I had to go to like Hempstead.
Yeah,
and I had to go further out, and I had to go towards Nassau County.
Yeah,
but Suffolk County didn't.
They didn't have it.
No, bro. And even like the music we used to listen to. Get our one of my favorite groups is Wu-Tang, right?
Of course.
So every time Capadonna came out or somebody came out, a mixtape, anything, you went to the Italians that had the record shop.
Yeah, they got the spots.
We didn't even have that.
Yo, man. See, that was the one thing about Brooklyn. Like, you were able to go to, like, Mr. Birdie's or something like that if you wanted to do that, or B Street or whatever. But I don't even know if they were black-owned. But there was another entrepreneur around our way that really lifted me up as far as, like, wow, I think I could do this or be involved. His name is Don Poole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Cummins.
Yeah.
So right now he owns Brooklyn Chop House.
Yep.
But, he was in the music industry before, so
Didn't he own some IHOPs?
Yeah, he got all the IHOPs. Like, that's pretty much all the IHOPs that's in Brooklyn right now. But the one on Livingston, I think there was one in Williamsburg. He had a bunch of Checkers.
Yes.
Him and his man Diamond, rest in peace. They definitely trailblazed because they owned a club called Club Rain.
Yes.
He had the barbershop around our way called Moods. That was the spot. You had to go there, and you saw all the new artists before they came out, like Biggie, Foxy,
wow,
Shine, Lil Sean. Everybody came through there, and this is the early mid 90s, and that's where you went to find out what was going on. And this is owned by a black dude, young black dude at that.
Yeah.
And managing artists, like, all in the game. So I used to peep game there when I was getting my hair cut. And I'm learning.
I'm still inside, man.
Yo, his word, man. Yo, he's still inside.
I'm still inside, man.
It was a beautiful
like, damn,
time.
those are the times I missed, man.
Yo, it was a beautiful time, man.
Yeah,
It was
that's
a beautiful
cool.
time.
So what? You had a long career, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What part was like super exciting for you? Like, what's the best part for you? Like, what?
When I look back on like it's like 20 something years now. It's like 23 years if I count my internship. I would say that there are a multitude of like moments, but like the era of excitement probably was when I started King, and life just changed, man. Because I was covering lifestyle more than just the music. With Double XL, it was super exciting because then I was able to go across the country, similar to like my military lifestyle when my stepdad was in the military, going all over. I was able to like go to different regions and hear artists from different spots like Crucial Conflict, and I was going down to Houston and seeing DJ Screw, and he's taking me all around, and
that's
you know, like bugged out stuff like that. I'm going to Atlanta when Too Short was just getting out there, and,
wow,
you know, that type of thing. But then with King, man, I was going international. Now I'm going back to Japan with Allen Iverson. I'm going to Cognac, France, you know, with Martel. I'm going to Italy with Iceberg for like my life just started taking on like this crazy Forrest Gump type travel.
Crazy.
And I was just like, wow, you could do all this by, you know, servicing people, giving them information, letting them know what's up. And I would say that time when I think about it was probably like the wildest, because not even wild, but just exciting. I had just gotten married, had my first child. I'm building a brand. No one handed me this brand and said, you know, continue it. It was like, build something.
You ever felt, when you just said all of that, what I just felt was pressure.
Yeah.
Like, was there a moment that you just felt like, how did I get here?
Yeah, but what's so funny, man?
And like, how do you maintain, you know?
Yeah, like the pressure thing was funny because it wasn't necessary pressure. I remember interviewing Kendrick And I asked him about the pressure he has now that he had linked up with Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, yo, I really don't have any pressure. I've been wanting this. And it's like, whoa, but like, he makes nothing but super duper stars and you're not there yet. So that's some pressure. He was like, nope, I've been wanting this.
Wow.
And then when I got my chance to make my own magazine and for it to be successful, there wasn't any pressure. I was excited, man. I was like running the things I did for like to set up and make that first issue, like going to, different people that had things that I needed. Like I wanted the Air Force One Gucci sneakers that I had seen somebody with, and I found out, tracked them down at this store, asked the person that owned the store, can I borrow the sneakers? I'm asking them if I could borrow $600 sneakers for a photo shoot. They thought I was crazy. And they were like, you crazy enough to ask? We're crazy enough to let you go ahead. Wow. You got to take them. Took the shoot, did it, put them on some Louis bags, brought them back. And they were like, all right, whenever it come out, just let us know. You know what I mean? You brought them back. When the issue came out and they saw that, yo, the love that I got made me realize, like, yo, if you can do that and you can envision these type of things and you make these kind of connections, you're going to be okay. That was like, it's real simple and like nondescript moment. Mm-hmm. But that moment in particular let me know, like, they were making fun of me because I wasn't going to get the sneakers. We don't got a budget for that. I'm going to find a way to get them. And I want people to know that this is the type of stuff that we're going to, show them and let them know. And I think about that moment because there was so many of those kind of moments when I was building it that didn't feel like pressure. It just felt like I just got to get it done. And then once I did, it just led to another bigger moment,
There's a statement, a quote at my office. Either I will find a way, or I'll create a way.
Yep.
Right? But I won't create an excuse.
There it is.
And that's the entrepreneur's mindset, right?
There it is.
And I think your approach has always been you always came into a space using that entrepreneur's mindset.
All the way.
So when all the, say, workers were like, we don't have a budget.
Right.
The job didn't give us a budget for what you want to do. What you said was, well, if the job didn't give me a budget, I'm going to find a way, but I'm not going to create an excuse, right? So you went and you took action, right? And so that is that entrepreneur's mindset. That is that faith, grind, inspire, right? And then so now once you got it done, now it's like, yo, Datwon's the man.
Yeah, yo. And it's so wild when you say it like that because it's like if you don't have the money, right, you create the currency.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I have to put in some kind of sweat equity to equal what that $600 was. So that sweat equity was me getting off my ass, going down there, talking to the person, letting them know this is what will work for me, but this is also what will work for you. We'll put your name in there. We'll give people the contact information.
Where to buy it.
Yeah, so now you're not just selling this one pair of sneakers. You're selling your brand. So when people come, they might buy the sneakers and something else. So I created the currency for them to be like, oh, that makes sense for me.
Exactly. It's free advertising for them.
And it works. But what that takes, when you create the currency, it takes trust. And it takes the people kind of feeling you out. Like, yo, he look like a scumbag? Is he talking right? Is he making sense? Does this really work for me? Let me see what the timetable is. Is this important to be aligned with this brand? I don't know what this brand is. It's never been created before. I trust him, though. Oh, he's a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to create that currency. And a lot of times it's like how you present yourself, and sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah.
Now, talking about sometimes it doesn't, right? So there's always been something that's always been famous, at least on my side. When growing up, I remember it's always been the cover.
Yeah, man.
Always been the cover.
That's been my life for like the last 20-some years.
Yeah, the cover. Like, so is there any time, like, naming both, right? Yeah. A time where you thought this cover was going to hit and it didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And then a cover that you think didn't hit. And then all of a sudden, this was the one that was like everybody was into.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite covers, and it's like super simple, was it was like 50 Cent, and he had a suit on, right? And it was like him turning into a businessman, and that was when inside I think he took all the tattoos off, and
that one for Vibe or which
it was
one?
Vibe.
It was Vibe.
It was Vibe. You know why? Because that's when I partnered up with Vibe. To do This Is 50 comedy.
I remember.
Yeah, with JFK.
I remember. With JFK.
So he was on the cover, and he had like the suit on.
He had the brick background.
Yes,
I believe.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, that was a dope one, man.
Yeah. So
Jermaine,
no bias, but that was my favorite.
Yeah. No doubt. Jermaine Hall at the time, that's my good friend. He was editor in chief, and I was executive editor, I think, around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And 50 by then, Jermaine and I had already, made King incredible. And then when we both went back to Vibe, anytime we had to do shoots with people, it was usually automatic because we had worked with them for so long prior. And that particular one, I remember him and Jay, they had a really good time. I think, Jay always wears suits too.
Yeah.
So that was like a theme for them.
Yes.
And then 50 was really going into the entrepreneurial status where he was wearing suits a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So that one worked in particular. When I think of covers that I thought was going to hit and didn't, I hate mentioning artists or people, but it was one with Brandy that we thought for King that we thought was going to do better than what it did. And it wasn't even Brandy's fault. I'm not even going to put it on her. I think for us, it was the creative direction of how the shot came out.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to put it all on her.
Yeah.
I was just like, dang, man, because, it was such an important one for us. One that I thought I was going to get and never got was Beyonce.
Beyonce's never been on a cover?
Not for King.
Oh.
For Vibe, she was, but I wasn't there at the time.
Got it.
She was on like at least 3 or 4 covers for Vibe.
Yeah.
But we never got her for King, and I always wanted her for King. I felt like it was important to have her, represented, and I gotta like a lot of the people that I wanted for King, but we went for her a few times and we were met with the stiff arm, but it was cool though. It was cool because I got some solace with her team, and they were telling me that like the pitches that we did for her, your cover lines had to help sell with the cover. So I would say like 95% was that, and then what else helped sell it was like the 5% that you might have seen in I don't know, Snipes. Snipes are like the print version of, Post No Bills. It was like wherever you see in the city up on construction sites and all that.
Yes.
Those are the Snipes. So your Snipe game, if it was dope and people going around the city, because you're not thinking about the rest of the country. You're thinking about metropolitan areas.
Yes.
If you out there like that, those were your ads, and that's what helped push it. But for the most part, if you had a dope cover, especially if you during that time, a Jay-Z, a Lil Wayne, 50 Cent.
I remember when you had the it was like the double covers.
You had the roll out with like the freshmen.
Yeah.
There's times when even with King, I had Melissa Ford on one cover and I had Gloria Velez on the other, and then when you put the covers together, you get part of their bodies on the other one. So the more you bought, the more you got of them.
Oh, that's
it was
hot.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have tons of those.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we had a subscription.
Yep. That was the best way to do it.
Yep. But man, so how do you one of the questions that I always ask all the entrepreneurs in here, right, is how do you balance work, family? You travel a lot, like you're raising daughters, like you have a wife, how do you balance, and how do you balance, and what advice would you give someone that's trying to, and they don't have to be in your industry, because everybody, it doesn't matter what industry, they all have this same issue.
No doubt.
And so
I would say the balance part is still something I'm figuring out. It's tough to be able to, perform, meaning come up with like really dope ideas and things that's going to keep you around. That's the hard part. Doing the work, everybody could do the work. If once you have the framework, you just go ahead and at some point that framework gets old, and you have to start innovating, or you have to start doing things differently. Like your sector might change, or you might lose a team member that was integral to how that framework progressed and helped you become successful. So I think like right now, one of the main things as far as the balance is me being able to see when those things change. And if my life has to change, meaning I have to get in earlier or do more work later or stuff like that, adjusting to that. But then when you add the family aspect of it, your family is constantly changing. Your kids are constantly getting older.
Yeah.
Your bills are constantly becoming either more or more intricate. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You adding in, college, and then you're adding in retirement. Then you're adding in, hey, do we expand the house? So, like, it's all these other things. So as your business is changing, your life is changing as well. And that's the thing that you have to. Because one could be really high, one could be really low, and then you got to bring them up together so you can have peace of mind.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the hardest things to do is to ignore one or the other.
Yeah.
Because one impacts the other the same the other impacts the other.
Yeah.
My advice is to I've been lucky. My wife is just super understanding.
Is she an entrepreneur?
She's an entrepreneur because she helped us build the business. She was the one that was like, yo, I'm gonna hustle these hats over at the spot at the job. And then somebody from the job liked the hats and they started their brand based on our joints.
Wow.
And she helped a whole nother brand come out of our brand.
That's hot.
You know what I mean? So her entrepreneurial mind, she's always been like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she's been super understanding as far as like my schedule and there's so many people that want my time, and not because, I need Datwon's time, but just because of what I do, there's a lot asked of me. And I have to give it to her and my daughters to not pressure me about, you didn't come with me to this, or, dad has to go to this. And they understand.
That's good.
Yeah, that's like paramount.
That's amazing. Because,
it's hard
because as creative as you are, right? And when you think about editor, and there's a lot on the line for you, right? I'm thinking about if I get pressure because I miss my son's basketball practice, what's going to really happen, right?
Yeah.
But for you, like if someone makes you guilty, I'm talking the guilt. If somebody puts the guilt on you, and you have to be creative with editing a piece, and your mind is cloudy, so you can't focus on the piece, and it doesn't come out the way you want it to. Like that's the pressure I'm talking about, right? And so the fact that your family understands that, and and it's cool because one of the key elements is partnership, right? So you have a partner, you have a wife, but you have a partner, and your team is the family, and they understand the partnership.
They know the play.
They know the play.
Here's the play. All right, cool. Dad's gonna run this play.
Yes,
and then
Dad's
most of the
gonna
time, mom's gonna run this play. You know what I mean? And they're able to see that. I think one of the other things is
cool.
There was a time when when I was coming up, I knew I could just be like, all right, cool. I got all this stuff that's going on. Okay, either I got to transcribe this or write this piece or do something that's like, it's like tedious, but it's integral to the job. And I could count on myself on doing that.
Yeah.
And it was so easy because you're younger, you have more time, you're able to do it, your focus is different. As you get older, going back to that is so much harder because you start to realize like that everything that you got to do has tripled.
Yeah.
I have 3 girls now.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I could do that when I didn't have kids or I had one child.
Yeah.
I have 3 now. And, you still got to attend to family matters even outside your home. So it's like moms and brothers and sisters. I'm the oldest of 7, 3 on my mom's side, 3 on my dad's side. And then the host of friends, fam, people that just ask. It's a lot, bro.
Like for example, and this is how I knew you understood balance.
Yeah.
So Datwon invited me to an event with Damon John, right?
Yes.
And he's like, you have to come. You have to meet him. I got to introduce you guys. You, my man, come. So we get there, and Datwon was actually the host, right?
I'm going to tell you something about that.
And then he was the host. And as soon as it was over, everyone was like networking. And because, he was the host, everyone's going to come to him. Yep. He didn't rush anybody, but he sort of calculated and he kept moving towards the door. And then as soon as he got towards the door, he's like, yo, Gene, I got to go. And I was like, all right, I'm out too.
Yeah.
And we left. And it was because we got it.
Yeah,
because I was trying to get out of
navigate.
there too, but I was like, damn, I don't want to leave.
Of course.
Because this is a good opportunity. You don't get
Yep.
invited all the time. So to this little private thing. So I'm like, I'm not leaving until he leaves, you
Yep.
know?
Yep.
And you like, yo, I got to go home to the family.
Yeah, I gotta get that train.
I got to get that train.
That train, yo, man, my whole life is run by the Long Island Railroad system, pretty much. You know, I could sit on the subway all day if I want, but that's like a drag.
Yeah, yeah.
If I could just make that 942, yo, you should see it, man. I mean, like running through a streak of lightning. You know that's up. Datwon's running for that 942.
Yeah, that 942
or that 830. I'm trying, but yeah, man. Like I try to calculate, and in the network, that's another thing for entrepreneurs. To network is like. That's like the bloodstream of what you're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
You have to do that.
Yeah, you do.
You have to. You could open up the best, bakery ever, but if you're not outside hustling to get people there, outside of social media, you gotta press that flesh. You gotta talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta start coming up with ideas and collaborations and things like that.
People have to feel that energy.
They have to, man. And that's why I do things still. I might not do it on the level of a lot of my other friends.
Yeah.
Some of them, they really go all the way out. I'm super calculated. So that way I'm trying not to exert myself too much.
Yeah.
But lately I have been.
Yeah.
I've been like running myself down, bro.
I see that, man.
Running
I've been
it
praying
down.
for you, though, bro.
Thank you,
I've been
family.
praying
I feel
for you,
it.
man.
I
If you
feel
feel
it.
the prayer, if you feel that little
I
boost
feel
of
it.
energy, man.
That's what it is. And
I'm telling you.
And likewise.
I do, bro.
And likewise, fam, because you realize like if you're not out there hustling, it's not gonna come to you, man.
No.
It's not. And that's one of the things that, I try to tell my brothers. One is a DJ, one's an artist. My sister gets it. My sister, she does hair. She gotta go somewhere. She gotta be at the dry bar. She gotta be at the wing. She gotta be at the set. And she's on it. She's like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
She's running it down. My thing is like, as we're doing that, let's check in and make sure that we're good.
We're good. Exactly.
Like physically,
Yeah.
mentally,
Yep.
spiritually.
Yes.
And that's one of the things where I'm always grabbing books.
Yeah. You meditate?
I started back again.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, man, oh my goodness. I was doing it this is the weirdest thing in the world, though, Gene. Before I started working with Russell, every day, I was going to yoga 2 times a week.
Yeah.
Consistent for
Wow.
months. It was crazy. It was helping me. It was getting me right.
Yeah.
I go get with Russell, the yoga guru. He leaves every day at like 6 something to go. In the year and a half I worked with him, not once did we go to yoga together.
Really?
I was like, yo, when I got this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a yogi.
Yeah, I'm going to be floating.
Yo, I'm gonna straight be like straight up and down. What was his name? Dial Slim in Street Fighter.
Yeah,
I was gonna be like him.
That's funny.
Yo, and straight up and down did not happen. I was working. It was like work. Russ was like, oh, you good? All right, man, I'm going to yoga. I was like, damn, I gotta stay here. You know what I'm
I
saying?
want to go with you.
Yeah, exactly. But I did learn meditation, a deeper form of meditation with him. And I incorporated that into my life after. And this is like 2010, 2011. And then it would be in a minute. I'd do it here and there. And then like maybe 2 months ago, it was like so much going on. I was like, all right, Dave, you got to sit still, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sit still. And I started asking friends that I knew that were in it, like, what's some of the newer ones that you have? And they were sending me links. And I started trying some. Man, I did one for like 3 days. I was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I would do it before I left the crib.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, my week was incredible.
Of course, yeah.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, things were sharp. Boom. It was like a boost of energy because you raise yourself to another frequency.
Exactly.
And the thing is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're on that new frequency. You think you good. You don't have to do it.
No, it's a false illusion.
And you gotta stay on
consistent.
it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
man.
I actually I fell off for a little bit, and then and it was like I was losing my balance.
Mm-hmm.
That Gene swag that everybody knows, it was off. And
Yo, their body knows.
yeah, your body knows.
Yeah.
And I started gaining weight. Like it was off.
Yeah.
And so, but now I actually teach. I have a program in the schools called Groundwork.
Oh, that's
And I
dope.
teach kids, inner city kids, like young men,
Yep.
how to meditate.
That's
And
dope.
and instead of me doing it because I'm not an expert at it,
course.
I'm learning to. So, but there's an app. I mean, not an app. There's a
Because I used to use the Calm app.
Yeah, well, it's called there's Mindful in Minutes.
Mindful in Minutes.
Yeah, it's a podcast.
Okay.
And I'm subscribed to her, and I play it. Her name is Kelly.
Okay.
And basically, it's like 15 minutes.
Yep.
I put it on. I play it in the class. And we all sit on the floor, comfortable space. Like, yeah, man.
Well, I mean, like, so Phil Jackson, he used to do that for the Bulls.
Yes.
Zen them out,
man.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes your life is like this. It's like this.
And you're trying to operate
and
like
you're
that.
trying to operate like this.
That's crazy.
And then so you just need to, like, be still.
Yep.
And understand, like, you need that stillness. But you said you got to tell me something funny about that event that
so Damon John, of course, really good friend, Shark Tank dude, I mean, for years and years now.
Mm-hmm.
And his people hit me and was like, yo, John wants you to come through to the joint, it's gonna be dope. I was like, all right, cool. They was like, yeah, I just want you to like host, kind of, all you gotta do is just show up. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, I'll show up. I want to hear what his new inspirational album is like. So I get there, I was like, oh yeah, you're gonna be interviewing him. I was like, what?
You found out that day?
I found out that day. Like, I was like, yo,
man,
what you saw on that stage was us having a conversation that we would have if it was just us.
Wow.
That's what that was.
Yeah,
then people hit me and was like, yo, like, that's dope. Like, the preparation. I was like, preparation?
Yeah.
I was like, that was minute to minute.
No, you did a great
dope.
job, man.
I appreciate that, man. That was a lot of fun.
You asked some good questions, and it was funny because you asked that pressure question.
Yes.
Yes. How do you deal with that? Everybody thinks you're always on,
Yeah.
It's funny because even though before the interview, right? So our producer Tim has a podcast. Shout out to Tim.
Young Tim.
Right? And he has a podcast, and he interviews like legendary hip hop artists, right?
Yep.
And it was funny because he threw out a question to you, and it was just like
boom,
like let me see what you, like you are, and you knew, and it was
gotta be ready, man.
I wasn't ready, so
you gotta be ready.
See that question? I was like, I don't know.
Them joints come from all over, man.
Yeah.
It's funny because sometimes you'll be with like even some like this past month and this past week in particular, I've done a lot for the HBCU community.
Yes.
So last week Monday I was out in DC.
DC, yeah.
And
I saw you with GC.
Yeah, like all of us was together, Isaiah Thomas, all that stuff. But that was like to inform those kids. It was like 250 students from all the different HBCUs in the DMV area. And then we informed them, had mentorship time and all that stuff. And those music questions come out of nowhere. Or just questions in general. You like, oh, Dip, yeah, so little Tekka, yeah, he from Springfield, da. You got to be ready. And then I went to, just this past Friday, I went back to DC, and I was at Howard for their career fair. And man, these kids were so sharp. They were so sharp in their questions about the industry and what they should expect. And if I'm in PR, but I'm in IT, like, how does that differentiate if I come into the
wow,
I'm sitting there like, damn, I gotta see what that means.
Yeah, what that means, right?
And it was a lot of fun because I was learning as well as giving them an opportunity to showcase their skill set for different brands, and some of the brands were hitting back. And I say all that to say is like, you got to be ready.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You just got to be ready, man. And I feel like I'm on is like I live it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a thing where I necessarily turn off. It's just I power down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily turn off. So, and I think I'm gonna be like this, man.
I think so too. You're like I was telling one of my matter of fact, Jeff, my co-host,
Jeff,
right?
Yep.
And he was like, because he's in the medical world and all that stuff, right? And I said, he was like, who are you interviewing today? So I said, I'm interviewing Datwon, right? Datwon Thomas. I was like, editor-in-chief of Vibe.
Yep.
And he was like, Vibe, really? And I said, yo, bro, he's the Diddy of magazines. And he said, the Diddy of magazines?
Yo, that's mad funny. I'll take it.
Yeah, so, and the reason why I say that is because it's like, there's people that come in and they can't reinvent themselves, and they can't be consistent, and they can't stay fresh.
Right.
And it's because they came in for the wrong reason.
Yeah, man. A lot of them come in, with different agendas. Yeah.
And so your agenda's always been clear. Ever since you wore that backpack with the tapes in it.
I still do. You lucky I ain't bring it today.
No,
usually I have my book bag. You see me.
I see you. I see you.
Same way.
And so, talking about Diddy, right?
Yep.
You interviewed him?
My gosh, I have so many Diddy stories.
Yeah.
There's a famous one, and famous as far as the range of my fame is, but there's this story that I tell on YouTube. My man interviewed me because he knew the story when I approached Diddy. This is in 95, before I got my internship at Vibe. I approached him outside of Russell Simmons' Fat Farm store. The store hadn't opened up yet, and me and my cousin was waiting to get some gear so we could go to a pool party later that day.
Yeah.
But we got there early, and Puff was there. He was out, big body, 600 Benz, across the street by himself, no security, and he was on the phone with the ear thing in. He was yelling at somebody, bro. This is 9:30 in the morning. I was like, this dude is intense. Because I think we all thought they probably opened at 9 or 9:30, but they didn't open until 10. And I saw him yelling at the person. I was like, yo, when he calmed down, I'm going to go over there. And my cousin was like, leave that man alone, yo. Leave him alone. Yo, he wilding. He calmed down. He crossed the street, and I was like, yo, Puff. And he was like, yo, what's up? And I was like, yo, man, I'm Datwon Thomas. Heavily into music. I produce. I do everything, man. I go get coffee. This is the days before cheesecake.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Before the cheesecake.
Right?
I was like, yo, I get coffee, all that. He was like, I was like, do you have any internships? My man was like, nah. I was like, okay. He was like, all right. I was like, yo, man, I'll see you at the top. Looked at me like, what? All right, just okay. He goes into the store, it's about to open, and my cousin's like, we can't go in there now. He's like, yo, we can't go. I was like, yo, we going in there. So Puff is in there looking for stuff. We in there looking for stuff, and it's mad awkward. He just told me no. But then, that was 95, right? A bunch of stuff happened in 10 years.
Of course.
As much as, I worked with him in other companies and stuff, 10 years later, 2005. Or 2000, it was 2006 actually. I'm editor-in-chief, is editorial director of King, started the magazine. He loved it.
Yeah.
He became the guest editor for his album Play. He was the guest editor. So we had to go up to his office at the time it was at Atlantic, and we had to plan the issue together. Me, him, and my staff. And it was me and him mainly, and I'm sitting across from him. And he had to write his editorial letter, and I had to write my editorial letter, the ones that's in the front.
Wow.
And I was just looking at that moment, almost 10, it was definitely 10 years, but prior, he told me no. Now, 10 years later, I'm sitting next to him, and he asking me what I think. Yo, what you think of this one? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Why don't you try this, though?
Did you ever remind him of that?
I hadn't. But I wrote a little something. It was a little inside joke for people that knew.
Yeah.
And I really did see him at the top.
Yeah, you did.
To the point where we're working together now, and you respect my opinion. You see me, it's like, what's up? And it's like, oh, my man's doing his thing. Whatever he need, let him, go ahead. Datwon need that. Or, yo, I need X, Y, and Z. Call Day.
Mm-hmm.
And that for me, that was the validation of whatever I saw years prior. I want to work with you.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing.
Vision.
You inspired me.
Vision.
And I think of moments like that, man, stuff like that just bugs me out, man. And that's just one Diddy story.
Yeah.
That's nowhere near all the Diddy stories.
I'll tell you an embarrassing Diddy story.
Oh, wow.
So growing up, I've always wanted to meet him, right? Because everybody in school used to call me J Diddy.
Yikes.
Because I'm a Scorpio, a couple days apart,
the hustle.
So I dressed like him. I had to, you know what I mean? All that stuff. So I said, yo, the day I meet Diddy, man, I'm going to give him my business card, and I'm going to, you know?
Yeah.
So we started ACA.
Yep.
And we're going around. Matter of fact, you were at this party. It was for DJ Cassidy. Everybody was there.
Oh, yeah. It
was at Cipriani.
Yep.
So, and I'm with Bo, and I'm like, I was like, I didn't know he was going to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, the day I meet Diddy, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give him my card. And so I'm walking, and I'm texting on my BlackBerry, right? And I'm texting BBMing somebody like, yo, you guys need to be here. Like, Bev Biv DeVoe is here, Russell's here.
Yeah.
Everybody's at this party, right? For this DJ. So I was like, all right. Yo, I'm texting, I'm walking, and I bump into someone.
Wow.
And I'm falling.
Wow.
Right? And who catches me?
No.
Yes, man.
Puff catches you?
Puff catches me in his arms, bro. I look up.
He's like, take that.
Yo, bro, I look up. His security's like surrounding, but they didn't grab me. He's holding me,
you.
like from falling.
Wow.
And I'm like,
wow, saved you.
Seriously? And I look up and I'm like, yeah, exactly. I was like, seriously? And I said, yo, this is not how we're supposed to meet, man. So he was like, what? He said, yo.
I envisioned this way different.
I envisioned this way different.
You know, a power lunch, a nice big corporate.
So I had to like, and you know, I'm a Scorpio, so I had to think quick.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, but I got a Sean John suit on, though. Yeah.
Nice. That worked. That worked.
Yo, so he was like, yo, who you with? So I said, yeah, I'm with my business partner, Bo. And so he's like, yo, come. He was with the R&B singer, that Mario Winans.
Mario, yeah.
So he was with Mario Winans, and he was like, wait, who you guys with? He's like, yo, come to my section. And because me and Bo were the only ones in like suits, we were in his section, so people thought that we were his security, part of his
automatic.
team. So they were asking, yo, can I take a picture with Puff? I was like, nah, man, keep it moving. So Puff started laughing. And there's a picture Bo just sent me, like he found online of that night. And he was like, yo, you look like you were glowing.
Yo.
Because you met your idol. But years later, I got an opportunity to actually print business cards for all his companies.
Look at that, bro. Look
you
at
know,
that.
Yeah, man.
Look
so
at
it comes around.
It does, man.
When you say you want to, because since I was a kid, I was like, I'm gonna work somehow. I'm gonna do something for him, and I ended up getting Sean John for years, printing the clear business cards.
Yeah, man.
That's me. The hard cards with Combs Wine and Spirits.
Yes,
that was me. All of that. Even the Blue Flame, the little thin one. That's
all the
me.
way.
Yeah. So shout out to Puff, man.
There you go.
You know,
there you go, man. But you know, like we tell these stories about him because he's the quintessential dude that made it from the hood, all the way up, took the world by storm.
He was the Mr. J, bro.
Yeah,
for me.
all the way.
Because I didn't see a Mr. J. So he was the Mr. J for me. Like, when I saw entrepreneurship, I saw Diddy. Right? And I didn't, people like Jay-Z now, but I didn't see Jay-Z as an entrepreneur.
Right.
I just saw him as a rapper.
Right.
I saw Damon Dash as an entrepreneur.
Right.
But I saw it because I thought he was the one that, because I was a kid. So I saw Puff and I saw him.
Yeah.
Those are the two executives that built something.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, one day I'm going to be that. And
you are.
Yeah.
You are, bro.
And so, and it wasn't, I didn't want to be in the music industry.
Yeah.
I went, at first, I went into, I was doing sports management. I was managing people from the Giants.
Right.
I tried to work with Darrell Revis. I did all that stuff.
Wow,
man.
Revis.
Yeah, bro. I was telling this guy a story the other day, and nobody really knows this, right?
Right.
So, Zach Randolph, right?
Yes, I do.
So this is another crazy story.
Yeah.
So Zach Randolph, because of like different networks that we were in, I got an opportunity to work with him, right? I was supposed to sign him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a big dude. So he comes, he's like, because I was in a suit. I'm always in a suit.
All the time.
He comes in, I had a CLK. I had to drop the top for him to fit in the car. And he just signed with the Knicks.
Right.
And he was playing for the Knicks. And I just, like, we were meeting, and he was like, yo, tomorrow, I'm signing with you. Yo, you my guy.
Let's go.
$100,000.
Bam.
The next day I wake up, they traded him to the Grizzlies. I was like, yo, son.
Yo.
Yeah. So there was like two blows in sports for me that made me leave.
Yeah, because sports is so crazy.
That was one. The other one was we had an opportunity to throw an event for Michael Strahan, his retirement party at Strata.
Yes.
Right? During the draft weekend.
I said that.
You were there.
I think so.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Yo, the dude from Last Dragon was there.
Yeah.
Man. Everybody was there. And but you were there. And this guy comes up to me and he's like, yo, bro, I heard you the guy.
Yeah.
So I was like, what team you play for? And he was like, I said, No, he said, I said, what team you play for? He said, I don't play for a team. I said, yo, here's my card. Call me when you on a team.
Right.
And I walk away.
Right.
So the next day I went to my business partners. I was like, yo, fellas, man, like this guy came up to me and, you know, he had a funny last name, right? I was like, and I said,
wasn't Giannis.
No. I said, he wanted to work with us. But I brushed him off because I didn't really know. He didn't play on the NFL.
Oh,
so
football.
I thought he didn't play football. So I was like, yo, here's my card, whatever. And my partner was like, what's his name? So I was like, Michael Crabtree.
Are you serious?
And he was like,
You did not.
You did not tell Michael Crabtree.
Call me later.
When he came up to you. I said, yeah, who is he? He said, bro, he's the number one draft pick.
He's the top prospect.
I said, you know what, man? I'm done with this, bro.
I'm good.
That's when I went to work with Kevin Hart and all these guys because I was like, I'm done with the sports thing, man, because I don't know it.
Right.
You know, and I was like embarrassing myself, bro. And so with that Crabtree story, bro, I was just like, I was very transparent about it because I was like, because people don't tell their losses and their things because
but that's what you learn.
That's where you learn. And you know your strengths.
Yep, that's what you learn. And then you try, if you do learn like your weaknesses within a particular part of your industry, you learn like, yo, I need somebody that does it well.
Exactly.
You know, either I farm this out or I bring that person in.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the whole thing.
Focus on your strengths, man.
All the way, man.
Focus on your strengths.
All the way.
So Dave, I got to shout out Kevin Clark.
Yep,
right?
That's the fan.
We had
Get Date Dog.
Get Date Dog on Favorite Grind
Some people was hitting me like, yo, you gonna do it?
Yo, for real?
I was like, yeah, it's my people.
He said, you gonna do it?
You gonna do it? Like,
yeah, man, of course you gonna do it, man.
Yo,
that's my boy, bro.
It's fam.
So appreciate you, appreciate
of course,
him.
man, this has been
we
amazing.
have one question that we always ask all our guests, right?
Okay.
So out of faith, grind, inspire, which word resonates with you? And why?
Ooh, faith, grind, or inspire.
Yeah.
Dang, man. All three are like my mantras. My faith is the highest as far as like believing in things. You know, that's like a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Grind is subjective. Some people might think you grinding, some people might think you're not. Sometimes you think you grinding, sometimes you might not be. So that's subjective. The inspiration aspect though, I think that one probably resonates with me a little bit more so because I get hit a lot about how I inspire other people. And you could take that in a conceited way, or you could take it in like, yeah, that builds me up kind of way. I think the way that I take it is that I'm here for a reason. And if what I'm doing naturally that feels good to me and I'm passionate about inspires other people, then that helps with their faith, and that helps with their grind, and that helps with my faith, and that helps with my grind. So I feel like the inspiration aspect is the one that probably resonates with me the most.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
It's true. And that's what this is all about, man. Faith, grind, inspire. You have faith in yourself. You put in the work. And the work isn't supposed to be something like, hey, look at me work.
Nah,
it's just you're doing it naturally.
Doing it. And then people gravitate.
And people gravitate towards it. And people want to, you inspire people by, just like Instagram, for example, right? When if you see what people are doing, right, and you know them, you're getting inspired by them,
man,
and you go and do the work. You know, like you're like, damn, man, what am I doing, man? Let me make some phone calls. Let me.
when you hear like basketball players or sports individuals say like, yo, I see somebody doing their thing, or like Kobe gets out there before everybody else, puts up 500 shots.
Yes.
So now Damian Lillard is like, yo, I seen him do that on our court, so now I got to do at least 500 because he did that on my court just to get ready.
Yes.
When I see other people like kind of do what I do and they out there hustling and stuff, I get inspired by it. I'm like, oh, man, they doing that. That's what's up. Yeah. I'm doing it. Not the competitive inspiration, because I might not be able to do exactly what they're doing, but I can do what I do to the better or best of my ability because I'm seeing oh, they doing their thing, let me do my thing.
Exactly.
And whatever my thing is my thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you have to be okay with it being your thing and not what the other person is doing being successful with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things we're all getting caught up when people say, social media is wrong for you. If you look at it the wrong way, if you look at it in an envious, jealous, that should be me, why they get, if you do it that way, yes, it's wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're able to use it and see that someone's doing something beyond what they did the other day, and they're moving and grooving, they getting up there regardless of whatever else they're going through, use that aspect. Tilt the lens.
Tilt the lens.
Tilt the lens, man, because you could look at it one way and it'll look all crazy. But if you tilt it the other way, it can help you as well.
Man, that's the tip of the day.
Yeah, it is. Tilt the lens.
That's the tip of the day. Yo, tilt the lens. I love that, man.
There we go.
That's so true. And I didn't even talk to you about social media.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, because you got the blue check. And
Yeah, man. Yo, it's a good thing to know people.
Yeah.
But they ain't there no more. So when everybody hit me, they be like, yo, can you get me one? I'm like, well, people left, man.
Wait, you talk about you knew people at Instagram?
Yeah, at the time.
Oh, that's
At
cool.
the time. And they were like, yo,
I didn't even know there was real people at Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. They was like, yo, you should be verified. I was like, yeah, I should.
Yo, that's cool, man.
But nah, it's dope, man.
Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
What it does is it just brings, a validation. But even if I didn't even know necessarily that I had it until a little later. People would hit you and be like, yo, you got the blue check. I was like, oh, dip.
Yeah.
The same thing on Twitter. But even if I didn't have it,
You'll still be dog.
that's why I don't like, yo, follow me. I don't be doing all that. It's like, yo, if you get with me, we cool.
Yeah.
Like,
and you
check
know
it
what,
out.
man? You always been humble, bro. Like, even some people, when you post them or you tag them or you say something to them, they don't write back.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
as busy as I know you are, you always reply.
I try, man.
Like,
I try
it's
to
so
jump
crazy,
in there.
bro.
I
Like,
do. I pick and choose.
Sometimes I'm like, is this him? But then
Yeah.
I know how you talk. So I'm like, this is him. You know? I do have to ask you one more question.
Oh, yeah.
So you worked with, so you ever did any pieces on like Kevin or anybody like
Kevin Hart and them?
anybody besides like
music?
music?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm trying to think
Like
of
any like cool story. One last cool story.
one last cool story.
Yeah.
That's so many, man. Damn, I'm trying to think of a real
Like
cool
one who's the interview where you, to make it easier, who's the interview like, yo, I'm actually gonna do this?
Oh wow. Probably Jay-Z.
Okay.
It was Jay. And this was like in 98 going into 99. And I had to do the Murder Inc. cover where it's him, DMX,
Yes,
and Ja
DMX
Rule.
and Ja Rule.
So
Wow.
you saw them, and then when you flipped it over,
shot
they had
that?
that. Yeah.
Wow.
Jonathan Mannion shot that.
Yeah.
I did the cover story, and I had to go out to Cali with Jay and them during that time, and that was when like Rockefeller was really fully forming.
Yes.
With like the new generation, because Beanie Siegel, that was his first time out there. Bleak was out. It was just an incredible time. And me and Jay were in the trailer, and we're looking at cartoons at the time. Yeah, in between video shoots, because he shot 3 videos in like 3 days. It was crazy. And I was ready to interview him, and every time I would try to start the interview, he wouldn't do the interview. He would rather just talk or not. We would just like, little comments here and there. And then I realized, like, oh, dude doesn't want to do the interview. He just wants to chill. And when I realized to stop pushing for the interview and realize, like, take in what's going on and use that as the piece, it became a better piece. Because I saw him interview with other people later, and all of them had similar quotes.
Yeah.
But my story stuck out because I took the environment, that everything that was happening around him and how he was responding to things and what he was looking at and how he moved and all that stuff. I put more of that in, so people got more of him.
As a person than the artist.
My favorite song on there is Song Cry. Like, come on, man. What I'm going to get from him outside of that? And it just gave me another angle, another skill set to use with other people. Like, even if they did give me the interview, still take in more of how they're reacting to things and what they're doing and really listen to what they're saying. So he taught me that without teaching me.
What I just got from that is people forget these artists are megastars.
Oh, no question.
Like,
no question.
megastars, you know? And they forget that they're people,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes you don't want to, like, for example, I mean, this is totally small scale.
No.
But
That's real.
when I go to my office, right, in Brooklyn, everyone's like, yo, you're the yogurt guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what's your favorite yogurt? And,
Right.
they talk to me about yogurt all the time.
What's
or,
number 7 is your favorite?
yeah, or in the space, I'm in real estate. So I've been in real estate for 20 years. So sometimes I don't want to talk about anything.
Yeah.
Right? I just want to, and when I'm walking with my family, I'm at the park and somebody comes up to me talking about real estate. And I'm like, yeah, but because I love real estate,
You could do it.
I could do it. But sometimes you just want to be like, yo, let me tell you who I am. I meditate, guys.
Sometimes you want to sit and look at cartoons.
Yeah, I want to sit
That's
and
what
watch
he was
cartoons.
doing.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, exactly.
Like, you just want to do that.
And which is a dope moment.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. And I have a stupid Jay-Z, 2 of them.
Yep.
But it was, the first one was when we launched ACA. It was playoffs at 4040. I rented out the 4040. I had all these people. You were there.
I was there for that one.
Yeah.
I remember that.
He was sitting on the steps.
That's what I love about it. So he's like, yo, you was there.
Yeah. And I walk up to him. And I made mixtapes in the gift bag. And the mixtape was pretty much all his stuff, And so I was like, so he was like, yo, congratulations. I heard this is your launch or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, here's a gift bag.
Wow.
Right? Here's a gift bag, thank you for inspiring me and inspiring this.
Of
right?
course.
And I try to make it, and you remember that song, dun, 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 dun,
Rock Boys.
Rock Boys.
Yeah.
So that was the whole,
around that. Yeah.
That's the theme. That was the theme of the event, right?
Yep.
That whole grown and sexy, we're all in suits, everybody dressed up. And so I said, thank you for inspiring me for years, right?
Wow.
And so that was that one. And then the second time I meet him, like instead of talking to him and like really building, first thing I did was like, yeah, this is so-and-so, and I didn't talk, and he looked at me like, I know that's not what you want to say to me.
Right, but
you were nervous. You know what I mean?
should see it, man. I've been around him and other celebs when people like they get around them and you have a little bit of time.
Window.
You got that window.
Yeah.
And you never know what you're gonna say. You can go with the plan. You can have everything.
I had a plan, bro. I was the second time I was like, the first time I didn't know who. Actually, that was the third. That was the third time.
Okay.
The second time I met Jay, I came. I was playing. It was like a fight, a boxing fight, right?
Yeah.
And everybody, goes to the 40-40.
Of course.
So I'm in one of the rooms playing. Beating Angie Martinez in pool.
Right.
And I had a sweater, like a Carlton Banks sweater. Jamie Foxx was in there and making fun of me about the Carlton Banks sweater.
Of course.
And he was like, yo, Angie, how you letting this Carlton Banks ass nigga like beat you in pool? And I'm like, y'all beat you too. Like,
right.
And then so I was working with Cliff Lewis, who played for the Giants. So that was my client that I had there.
Yep.
And one of the managers comes in and was like, somebody wants to meet you.
Wow.
So I was like, all right, come. So I brought Cliff, and we go into the other room. Who's in there? Jay-Z, Beyonce, Zab Zuda, what's his name? The dude that plays in Blackish.
Oh, Anthony
Anderson. A bunch of other people. Jay-Z stands up, handshake. Yo, bro, I didn't know what to say, bro.
You're going.
I was gone. I just sat my ass in that little room.
It's like, yo, I'm chilling here.
And
I'm
chilling here for the rest of the night, bro. Like, and I was cracking jokes with Beyonce. I went home. But this is before iPhone, man.
You can't like these stories.
Like,
the stories that we have from that era. These kids don't know.
They don't know, man. There was no
and all of that type of stuff doesn't happen as much now.
Bro.
They're not that accessible.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You can't have that story with Jay-Z and Beyonce now.
No,
you know what I'm saying.
I gave him my card, and I told Beyonce, I met you at Visions in Atlanta for All-Star Weekend. And they thought I was part of the crew. And I don't know if you remember how they used to just leave. They used to like huddle and they walk out together.
All together. Church on the move.
So they Memphis Bleak put me in the huddle.
Oh,
my cousin pulled me out right before we hit the door. He's like, where the hell do you think you're going,
I was going with them.
I was like, I'm going with them.
I don't know. You going back to New York, right?
He's like, yo, bro, nah, man. You ain't.
Yeah, I'm going with them.
I'm going with them. That didn't happen, man. But anyway, yo, man, that's cool,
okay.
man.
Look,
you just threw me back.
Yo, that's what's going to happen with us.
Man. So, man, Appreciate you. Appreciate
bro.
you for coming on.
All the
Thank
time.
you for cutting it with me.
Finally
This is
did
a
it,
great
man.
conversation.
All the time.
And so, guys, where can people find you?
They can find me at vibe.com, you know, the website. And then on Instagram is just Datwon, Datwon. And on Twitter is at Daydog, Daydog.
Yes. Follow him, man. Follow him. Respect it.
All right.
And subscribe to the Vibe.
There we go.
Vibe.com, right?
Vibe.com.
Yes,
There we go.
Go ahead. And so, guys, thank you guys for tuning in to this another great episode. Hope you enjoyed a candid conversation with me and my guy. Thank you to Brianna. Thank you to Tim. And thank you to all you guys for tuning in for another episode. Faith, Grind, Inspire. Continue to grind. Keep going no matter what. God bless. Peace.